Hi students, welcome to the English video lessons. Today we are going to learn a lesson from the fourth unit. The prose piece is The Summit, written by Edmund Hillary. Do you love adventure? Right. Real adventures, expeditions, explorations are always exciting, and if it is the first of its kind, it will be more thrilling and challenging. Okay, what is an adventure? Adventure is an unusual, exciting and daring experience.
There are many adventurous activities
like trekking, mountaineering, biking and even cycling. Right. And what is an expedition? Expedition is a journey undertaken by a group of people with a specific purpose. It may be for an exploration or for a research or even for a war. Expedition is a serious journey. Okay, students, what is exploration? Exploration is a travel for the purpose of discovery
in an unfamiliar area.
It may be exploring a new place or a new island, the age of exploration, that is called age of discovery, where many European ships traveled around the world to search new trading routes. Okay, you have learned about adventure, expedition and exploration, right? What are the qualities of an adventurer? First, you need to have passion and you need to have courage, and there should be inner urge, and you should have undying spirit and
physical fitness and determination
to overcome all the hurdles and struggles in order to achieve the task. Right. Now we are going to discuss about the famous adventurers and explorers throughout the world. Towards the left, you could see a portrait, and he is Marco Polo. He is a Venetian merchant traveler. He traveled through the sea to reach Asia and other parts of the world. And towards the right, you could see another portrait, and he is Vasco da Gama. He is the first European to reach India by sea. And towards the bottom right side, you could see
man with crocodile,
and he is Stephen Robert Irwin. He is
called the crocodile hunter,
and he is from Australia. Right. Towards the right side, you could see, he is a popular character in the Man vs. Wild. Right. He is Bear Grylls, and he is a survival instructor. Right. Moving to the next one, the Indian adventurers. The first one towards the left, Bachendri Pal, a mountaineer, and she is the first Indian woman to scale the Mount Everest in the year 1984. And in the middle, you could see Autu Singh Chima. He is the first man to scale Mount Everest. He is from Indian Army. And towards the left bottom, you could see who is she? She is Kalpana Chawla, the space explorer. She originated from India and became an American astronaut. She went to space twice. Okay, students, let's come to our topic. What is a summit? The highest point of a hill or a mountain is called the summit. And the iconic Mount Everest is the tallest mountain of our planet Earth. Right. Where is Mount Everest and how to reach Mount Everest? Every year, Many climbers from throughout the world are attracted towards Mount Everest. There are two main climbing routes. One approaching the summit from the southeast in Nepal. You can see the map on your left side, that is the southeast route to reach Mount Everest. It is the standard route. Towards the right, you could see another map, and this is from the Tibet side. It's the north side. Okay, look at this map. Here you have 4 camps. From the base camp, you have to move towards camp 1, camp 2, camp 3 and camp 4, and you have to reach the summit of Mount Everest. The height of the summit is 8,848 meters. It is the highest mountain in the world. Right. From this base camp, which is 5,334 meters above the sea level, it's very difficult to move from base camp to camp 1 and from camp 1 to camp 2 and from camp 3 and camp 4. It is the famous place called South Col. When you reach South Col, from there in a single day you have to reach Mount Everest. And at that point in the South Col, which is 8,000 meters above from the sea level, it is called death zone. There is a lack of oxygen and it is very fatal for the climbers. Many died in that place because of lack of oxygen in their oxygen bottles. Okay, here is the way to Everest. How many days it takes to reach the Mount Everest? Right. It takes almost 12 to 14 days to reach the base camp. From base camp to summit, it will take another 40 days. Almost you need to spend 2 months to 3 months for this task. Right. It's all because of
Acclimatization. What is that? Acclimatization.
it is the process in which an individual adjusts to change in its environment, such as a change in altitude, temperature, humidity, etc. Okay, students, you can't trek Mount Everest with bare hands. You need to have climbing gears because it is impossible to climb without these gears. Look at this picture. You could see many tools. Without them, a mountaineer cannot climb Mount Everest. Towards the left, you could see harness. It is the important tool which is considered as a waist belt, and from there all the loops are tied. And crampons, it is fixed to the boots, and ice axe, ice hammer, helmet and tape sling, ropes. These are all very, very needed things for climbing Mount Everest. And the most important thing is the oxygen cylinders or oxygen cans or oxygen bottles. Let's learn about the author, Sir Edmund Percival Hillary. He was born in the year 1919 and died in the year 2008. Edmund Percival Hillary is a New Zealand mountaineer. He was also an explorer and philanthropist. He served in Royal New Zealand Air Force as a navigator. After reaching Mount Everest, after the successful task, he had written many books on adventures. The most famous books are, towards the left, you could see High Adventure, and the next one, No Latitude for Error, and towards the third one, his autobiography, Nothing Venture, nothing win. And
Towards the right, view from the summit. It is the remarkable memoir by the first person to conquer Everest.
so these are some of the famous books written by Sir Edmund Hillary. Right, here you could see a book, The Conquest of Everest by Sir John Hunt. In our book, The Summit, this prose unit is adapted from The Ascent of Everest by John Hunt. Who is John Hunt? He was the leader of 1953 British expedition to Mount Everest. He led the task. Why they chose John Hunt? What's the reason? John Hunt's military leadership, his experience and undoubted climbing potentials would provide the best hope for success for the British expedition to reach Mount Everest. Okay, what happened then? The base camp was established on 12th April 1953. The next few days were taken up with establishing a route through the Khumbu icefall. In this place, it's a difficult area where you could see deep crevasses, towering ice blocks, and avalanches. Right, it's a difficult place to cross over. And without the help of Sherpas, mountaineer cannot reach the summit. Sherpas move tons of supplies up the mountain. They help the climbers to reach Mount Everest. Who are Sherpas? Sherpas are the mountain guides. They are the local people of Nepal and the Himalayas who are highly skilled and experienced climbers. They are paid to do things such as prepare the route for foreign climbers to follow, fix ropes in place, and carry the necessary climbing kit up to the mountain. Climbing Everest is tough, and being a Sherpa is really a risky job. Okay, students. Their group, they created advanced camps, and by 21st May, they reached the psychological milestone, that is the South Pole. From there, they have to travel towards the summit. Okay, Hunt had selected 2 climbing pairs to attempt the summit. The first pair, Tom Baudouin and Charles Evans, they both set out on 26 May but were forced to turn back after becoming exhausted high on the mountain. On the same day, Hunt himself climbed to 8,350 meters, and on 28 May, the expedition made its second assault, that is, second attempt on the summit with the second climbing pair. The summit was eventually reached at 11:30 a.m. on 29 May 1953 by the New Zealander Edmund Hillary and the Sherpa Tenzing Norgay from Nepal. From the base camp, that is on 12th April, to the summit, that is on 29th May, it has taken almost 47 days to cross over all these hurdles. Okay, who is this man? Tenzing Norgay. Tenzing Norgay is a Sherpa. He is from Nepal. Norgay had previously ascended to a record mark on the Everest with the Swiss expedition of 1952. That is the previous year. Okay. Edmund Hillary tells us how the summit of the Everest was reached by his team. Actually, the team was led by John Hunt. It is Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. Both of them reached the summit. On May 28, 6 men at Camp 8 on the South Col, Edmund Hillary, Tenzing, George Low, Alfred Gregory,
and the two Sherpas, Pemba and Ang Nima.
they all were heavily loaded. They climbed a height of 27,900 feet. And from that place, Hillary and Tenzing, they both have to walk towards the summit to reach the top of Mount Everest. Hillary and Tenzing put up a little tent. Next morning at 4 a.m. on May 29, they began to get ready for the climb. And Hillary and Tenzing started their cooker. They drank large quantities of lemon juice and sugar to get energy. And they cleaned the oxygen sets and rechecked them. And Edmund Hillary's boots were frozen due to heavy snow. He wanted to soften it. So he cooked his frozen boots over the fierce flame of Primus. Primus is nothing but a stove. And they pulled their pair of gloves, silk, woolen, and windproof, 3 pair of gloves, and they were ready for the climb. At 6:30 a.m., they took their 30-pound oxygen gear on their backs. 30-pound oxygen is equal to 13.6 kilograms. And you have to think how it will be carrying 30 pounds on the back on a sloping, snowy mountain. Hillary asked Tenzing to move off. Tenzing kicked steps in a long traverse and back towards the ridge. And they reached the crest where it forms a great snow, and it is full of snow. And at 28,000 feet, there they could see the ridge narrowed to a knife edge. And from that place, they felt all the struggle, all the difficulties. The soft snow made a route on top of the ridge, found to be both difficult and dangerous. At several steps, they slipped back. But after moving several hundred steps, Hillary found in a tiny hole, that is, he found 2 oxygen bottles left by the earlier mountaineers, that is Tom Bolvin and Evans. And they continued making their trail on up the ridge. The snow at this region was more dangerous. They made frequent changes to lead, and Hillary slipped back. The snow conditions were not good. But Tenzing replied with his familiar phrase, "Just as you wish, we shall decide whether to move or take rest." But they continued. At 9 a.m., they reached the south peak. They cut a seat for themselves just below the south summit and removed their oxygen apparatus and rechecked them. Their oxygen bottle has exhausted now. It was lighter, just weighing 20 pounds. As Hilary's ice axe bit into the first steep slope of the ridge, he realized his hopes. They moved one at a time. Hilary would cut a 40-foot line of steps, while Tenzing belaying him while he worked. Tenzing helped Hilary by belaying him, by supporting him. And moving to the next area of that summit, they could see cornices. They found many large ice cornices. Ice cornices are something, a huge mass of snow or ice, like a curling crest of wave. It was a great thrill to look straight down from the point with 8,000 feet below them. And on its east side was another great cornice, and there was a crack between the cornice and the rock. They had to cross over these things. They had a difficult time. Tenzing belayed Hilary with a slow and steady progress. He inched upwards slowly to reach over the top of the rock. For a few moments, he lay regaining his breath. After that, he determined that nothing could stop them reaching the top. Hilary signaled Tenzing to come up. And there was numerous ridges. And again, their original gist had now quite gone, and it was turning more into a grim struggle
After a few more whacks,
of the ice axe,
what is whacks? Strike.
forcefully with a sharp blow with the ice axe or ice hammer. After making a few more walks of ice axe in the firm snow, they stood on the top. They reached the summit. There were no more steps to cut, no more ridges to traverse, and no more humps to tantalize them. Tantalize, tease, or torment. And they reached the top of the summit. They greeted each other. Both were almost breathless. They were very happy. It was 11:30 a.m. The ridge had taken them 2.5 hours, but it seemed like a lifetime to reach the summit.
From that point, they could see the unexplored ranges of Nepal.
After 10 minutes, Hilary realized that he was slow moving because of poor oxygen, and he quickly replaced his oxygen set. Meanwhile, Tenzing made a little hole and placed a bar of chocolate, a packet of biscuits, and a handful of lollies as a small offering to the gods. Beside Tenzing's offering, Hilary placed a crucifix given by Colonel John Hunt, and they stayed there. After 15 minutes, without wasting time, they traversed back to the south peak. At 2 p.m., they reached their tent. And at the tent, they both were greeted by George Lowe and Wilfred Noyes with hot soup and emergency oxygen. The sigh of delight, happiness, they crawled into the tent and collapsed into their sleeping bags. Right. This is John Hunt, who led the expedition. After the successful accomplishment of the trek, he stated that It was an unforgettable day. The adventure was brilliantly achieved by Tenzing and Hilary. Okay, students, there are Everests to be climbed in our everyday life. Some are near and some are far away. With high spirit, men can scale great heights and reach deep depths. Okay, students, let's come to the textual questions. Answer the following questions. Look at the first one. What did Hilary do with his wet boots? Yes, because it was frozen, he removed it and cooked his wet boots. Go for the second one. Name an equipment and a tool carried by the climbers during their expedition. Yes, ice axe, ice hammer, and oxygen bottles. Right. Going to the sea. Why did Hilary become clumsy figured and slow moving? Yes, because of the want of oxygen. Right. The D question.
What did Hilary find in a tiny hollow?
While crossing the ridges, he found 2 oxygen bottles near the tiny hole. Tiny hollow place. Right. E question. Who are the 2 figures who came towards them? Yeah, they are George Lowe and Wilfred Noyes with hot soup and emergency oxygen after reaching the tent. Every year, from throughout the world, many mountaineers come to Nepal to scale Mount Everest. Most of the time, the mountaineers leave the waste materials and garbage littered on the ground. It has a potential to create an environmental hazard. Cleaning them is a challenging task. Right, students? There are no boundaries for the spirit of the adventure. Feel that spirit. Thank you very much.